Thank you and good afternoon. It's my sincere pleasure to present some of the lessons learned and some of the best practices that on implementing disaster management information systems that I've been involved in over the last 23 years. However, my challenge is keeping to 5 or 7 minutes. So I'll move very quickly through this. But obviously the challenge here in India specifically, like many places in the world, but especially India with your growth and the population growth, the economy, is that disasters are having a much larger impact here going forward. So everyone's concerned about this, and the challenge here, of course, is that disasters know no bounds, right? So because they don't respect boundaries, political boundaries across states, they don't care about your political orientation or your capabilities. They happen and you need to be ready. So one of the things that we look at when we implement and design technology solutions for disaster management is that they are interoperable, that the systems are open using open standards. They're able to share information across jurisdictions, so they also know no bounds. And a term that we've coined here is plan as you operate and operate as you plan. So before I talk about some of the lessons learned in implementing disaster management systems through a couple of case studies here quickly, I'll focus on response, but it's important that these systems also get used in the planning process right up front. So I think many of you are aware of the disaster management continuum. There's a lot of tools and capabilities that are used in response, such as hazard models, doing hazard risk vulnerability assessments, for example, using the technology for simulations and exercises. That same technology should also be used in response. So plan and train as you operate, operate and train as you plan. So how do we achieve interoperability? Well, obviously, some of you have already touched on this. You've got multiple agencies with many different types of systems. Now, I've been doing a lot of work in many areas of the world where there's established systems already in place. For example, in the United States, there's a lot of existing stovepipe systems. The big challenge there, obviously, is integrating across these systems. And so one of the things that we're focused on is being able to connect and pull together information in a meaningful way. So that the systems are talking together. In India, that's still true. You still have systems you want to integrate with. However, we're focused here working with SIS on providing a total turnkey integrated package. It's not just about a single purpose application, but having everything tied together. So a couple of lessons learned in implementing disaster management applications. One of the largest cross-border exercises I was involved in recently involved Canadian, federal, provincial, and local authorities, along with the United States Department of Homeland Security, State of Michigan, and City of Detroit. We utilized an open technology platform to tie together 6 emergency operations centers. For the first time ever, this exercise was run. It was a terrorist bomb threat scenario. For the first time ever, the US and Canada were sharing real-time information on the situation, and they were able to collaborate and more effectively respond. So it was a great success story, and this project is now expanding across several other borders. That exercise, as I said, involved a lot of people, a lot of jurisdictions, and a couple of the key lessons learned there is look at standardized data exchange, set standards for data exchange. So there's some standards such as the Common Alerting Protocol, or CAP, and in Canada we have one called MASIS, the Multi-Agency Situational Awareness System. These are standards that are evolving now. They're defining what are critical pieces of information that need to be shared across agencies during any kind of disaster. We also, one of the big challenges was especially dealing with US and Canada and issues around sharing of data, is agreeing and bringing people together to agree on a standardized GIS mapping system and the data underneath it. So one of the ways around that is really simply to get the key stakeholders together, enter into standard memorandums of understandings, look at best practices, and it will happen. We managed to pull this project together in, I believe it was 3 months, roughly. The 2010 Olympics in my hometown of Vancouver, a very complex situation. And the key issues were rapid decision-making across all of those decision makers and information overload. So one of the things that we did was implement a portal that provided a common operating picture. It tied together various applications, and including mapping technology, but taking an agnostic approach, basically allowing people to use the applications they're used to using daily and bring it together in a single dashboard environment. Another key thing we did was an early warning system. So when information was news information, incident information from dispatch and other systems were coming into the system, it would go through a rules-based engine and based on thresholds would automatically send out an alert. So in essence, we created an early warning system, and this is a very key component to an effective disaster management system, because you can avoid disaster or at least mitigate the impact of disasters through an early warning system like this. I'm running out of time, so another last one I've got here is United Arab Emirates, involved with the Formula One just recently. And a couple of things that worked very well for us is that the disaster management system, it's web-based, but what's the first thing to fail in any disaster? Communications. So we wanted to make sure that we were deploying a solution that also had a portability. It can operate standalone, right? On a ruggedized server that can be deployed to the field, and in areas where there's a lack of a good network and communications, it still runs. Obviously, controlled workflows were another key component to the success of that project. So, simple, open, portable, intelligent, spatial, and importantly, turnkey. We're working very closely, as I said, with SIS here in India now to provide a totally integrated solution to all levels of government and industry. And that's not just within India, but globally. It's what the market's looking for. So it's about bringing it all together. And that is something that I'm looking forward to working with several of you on implementing here in India. Thank you.